What's up, boys?
How's it going?
It's go time. Let's go.
How are you?
How you doing?
Boom, boom, just like that.
There we go.
All right, audio sounding good. We're live. We're in. Okay.
Nice.
Here's the questions. What the hell are people tuning in for on Valentine's Day? Well, this is Cigar Talk Live. This is our Tuesday get-together. Tonight is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band.
Yeah, it is.
Bunch of singles sitting up here at the lounge, enjoying every second of
Place
it.
I'd rather be, honestly.
With that, and except now you got a tattoo.
And I got burned.
And you got burned. You don't have any.
Normally.
Well, let's just talk about your genetics in a minute and why you don't have hair in your arms.
Already? I think he shaves it.
This is Cigar Talk Live, our Tuesday get together. If you are watching, thank you. We appreciate it. We love you. We are going to talk. Actually, there's no script to this. This is just our get together where you beautiful people get to spend time with these beautiful people. So if you're enjoying it, make sure you comment, make sure you like, you share. And if you subscribe on YouTube, we're getting really damn close to being able to monetize. And we'll just take that money and just give it right on back to you in something cool. So hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube and make sure you tell your friends that we are live. We do greatly appreciate it. Zach Patterson's coming in. Wayne Ferguson's coming in. Luciano is coming in. Happy Valentine's Day.
Is that Panda out there?
Are you ready? Are you ready to start the show?
I was born ready.
Tink.
Tink.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Okay, so it goes without saying, we do have Panda on the show who is stage left, my left-hand man right now, and we have an unsuspecting guest, which is the theme of this show. We just grab people out of the...
I had no idea I was going to be on today.
This is Evan on the far left side. Evan, in 90 seconds, will you give these beautiful people your life story?
My life story in 90 seconds. I've always had a passion for music. Luckily, that passion led me to travel to 37 countries. I've been to Israel, Lebanon, Dubai, India, China, and I'm 30 now. I'm wanting to settle down, and I came in here as a customer. I love it here. It's home. It's family, truly. The attention to detail these guys put in is phenomenal, and I couldn't be happier to be here tonight.
This is the first time ever that we basically have kind of an interview happening live on the podcast.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
Wow.
There should be no pressure on this.
No, not at all.
But we're at this point where I'm really excited of our future here, and hopefully we can get all the stars to align on this.
It's conversations.
Yep.
That's what it
Yep,
is.
that's exactly what this is. Kevin Amick coming in from Georgia. What's happening?
We got Zach's coming in from New Mexico, correct?
Yep. He says can really hear him that well. I think he might be from where you're from.
From me?
Yes. Will you give? What the hell are you doing here, Panda? Will you tell these folks?
Like you guys said, Valentine's Day as a single man right here,
Single ready to mingle.
Right. What's the best way to
single guys.
Is there anything better than smoke cigar with people I like and just talk about life and cigars? Tell me.
It's nothing better.
Nothing.
Yeah. There are friends that I have had for 10 years that I have had less time and deep conversation than you and I have had in the past 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, if you tally up, we're at like 14 hours of deep conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
If you take
like-
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
More like 16. I'm really sensitive with numbers.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'll trust this guy on the number part. What's up over there, Pops? Okay.
Man, I'll tell you what. I'm coming off of 2 days of. Can you guys
Which fella can't you hear? Let
Yeah,
us know,
can you
and
hear?
we'll bump up the audio there.
check.
Give me a check, will you? Hey, give me a check.
Jeremiah can't hear us
check,
from
check,
San
check,
Antonio
check.
because he's so damn far away.
Can't hear Evan or Panda. Evan,
Check.
give me a little something.
Check. Check.
Panda, hit me.
Check.
Those seem good.
All right.
All right,
Sounds
that
good.
should bring it.
Great.
How's that?
How's
Okay,
that?
so
Wayne Ferguson, our esteemed producer over on the right side.
yes, he got promoted to producer.
He just did.
Yeah, he was roadie before.
On Valentine's
Producer.
Day.
Won't be long before he owns this place. I'm coming off of 2 days of what will be 3 days of off-site meetings with my day job that is has my head numb. So I'm looking forward to smoking the Luciano Dreamer and then actually going home and dreaming.
That's why you didn't let me smoke that cigar.
Because there was a whole theme to the night.
Okay.
And now we got Luciano watching us from Nicaragua.
It's all tying together.
Yeah, it all makes perfect sense.
It's all work. Is he in? He's in Nicaragua right now.
Yes, he's right now. He's still working really hard in Nicaragua. Esteli.
I'll tell you what, Luciano, I miss you dearly. I cherish the moments we had. I hope you got the message I sent to you. I meant every word of it. Looking forward to continue to dream with you for many, many decades and generations to come. So, we've got tobacco on the table for the first time in this show's history.
Yeah.
Oh, first time, really?
First time we've had raw tobacco leaves that we're actually going to do something with.
So
All right.
You stick this between your cheek and gum. Is that right? You just shove it in there? You
That's-
don't know that was an old TV commercial back in the day with chewing tobacco.
Well, I mean, if you do that, you definitely need a dog in your back seat, your pickup truck, and probably a shotgun in your back seat as well.
I've got a shotgun in our Mercedes. What the hell are you talking about? This is Dallas, baby.
That's Dallas. Yeah, without a doubt. Now, glad to have everyone. I'm glad to have you guys up here. Will you talk about a little bit of the tobacco we have on the table, what it is we're going to do?
Can we tap the brakes and throw it in reverse real quick?
Yeah.
I'd like 90 seconds of Panda, your life story, and zippity doo dah. How did you end up in Frisco, Texas?
We tried this, and he went through 3 chapters of life the other week.
120 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, you got 20 seconds to tell us.
All right, so born, raised in China, and then came to the States for college. After that, moved to Memphis for 5 years, and just moved to Dallas last April. And right now, I'm just pretty much half-time here and half-time working in Nicaragua with Luciano, my mentor, and also my dear friend. Creating my own cigar brand, and hopefully it'll be ready late this year.
Oh,
Get
really?
ready.
Oh, you're that close.
Let's hope, yeah. But I mean, I need to make sure everything's on point. So
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic. Luciano, you do not need to respond to me.
So it is part of the 16 hours was really getting a chance to talk about the culture.
yes,
And I don't mean to derail this because I know you're getting ready to talk about tobacco. But,
right.
No, talk
but I
culture.
will tell you, your conversation about the Chinese culture was a tremendous eye-opener for me.
Right.
Because I didn't know at 61 years old, I didn't have any clue of the Chinese culture and what you, in a sense, battled with.
Right.
The dishonesty. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you said you came to the United States, you came to Michigan, you went to school. You came here not knowing anybody, not knowing the language, not knowing any of that, and you plunked yourself into the United States. So there was more to it than hopping on a plane and going to college. There was a whole bed of information underneath that. Now that you've become a fixture here,
Right.
and you need to be here on the regular, daily, I'm just suggesting.
That's
Sit down with Panda and dig into some of the stories that he's got. It's incredible. Plus, I understand there's some
Go to
dumplings
swap.
coming
Go
our
to
way.
swap. Come on in. Come on in. No, we're good. This is Wayne Ferguson's coming. He's going to do a cable swap. Evan, we're going to make sure we can hear you. Okay.
Got it.
So that's going. Number one. Gotcha.
Number one.
Cable swap.
Do I need to unplug
Will you
this?
talk just a little bit about how the culture has changed, how our culture has changed your vision of what you thought our culture was, the American culture, and what it is today?
Well, you see, like, as a kid who was born in China, I grew up with a lot of movies, in the 90s and early 2000s. And, a lot of times you see drama like the Shawshank Redemptions. A lot of times, when I was young, I really couldn't understand what that movie is talking about. Like, why would you, oh my God, like, did they actually try to, do a prison break? I mean, after all, you're just a criminal, right? But then once I get older, I start to understand that, there's a really blurry line sometimes when it comes to right or wrong. Now, that is something like really depends on what standard you're looking at, right? Are you looking at from the perspective of law, or you're like look at from the humanity perspective? Now, that is actually something I realized that, that's one of the difference, I'd say, like between here and back in China, because I mean here is more like we care about individuals a little bit more, right? I mean, both systems have its up and downs, but from an individual perspective, it's better for the long term, for personal growth, that you have more liberty and freedom to explore a lot and to be allowed to exposed to things that you've never seen before, never heard before. I think that's one of the fundamental difference, and which has also happened to influence me the most, I'd say. Yeah.
Evan, you're from here originally.
I am from here originally, yes. I've graduated from Plano Senior High School, was born in Austin, Texas, but yeah, Texas is home. Like, I've lived here my whole life, and it's always been home base, for sure.
How you guys both lived in Memphis.
I lived
really?
in Nashville.
Oh, you live in Nashville.
Yes.
Sorry.
But
same thing. I mean, it's just once you get over on that side of the country, it's all
the same.
Memphis,
Yeah,
Nashville.
I've been to Graceland a
It's like
bunch.
suburb.
Like
Hillbillies and ranch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Or men and sheep are nervous.
There we go.
Yeah.
So how have you seen the culture here change as more and more people who are not Texan have now basically flooded in? Well, everyone around the table, we're not from here.
I mean, I've seen the people from California come here in numbers. But Frisco in particular has just grown astronomically over the last, like 5-6 years. Now they're opening Universal Studios here in the next few years, and it's just going to be. I truly believe Frisco as a whole is going to be a destination spot for families to come in. It's going to keep growing. There's no slowing it down now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really interesting, and where we're from, it's more people just. You have about 95% of people that just settle up and ready to die, and then 5 that leave, but
so
no one comes in.
What brought you guys here to Texas?
Opportunity, I think.
Yeah. I went to work for a friend that owns a company down here, and came down for one purpose, and ended up running the company doing for a different purpose.
Right.
But I've been with them since 2009.
Okay.
Moved down here in 2010. My wife, happy Valentine's to my wife, who apparently didn't have a problem with me leaving tonight. She was like, "Can I go do this show?" Yeah, get the hell
Shout out to the wives for letting you guys be here tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
We got shit to do.
Yeah, we do. But no, it was a great opportunity. But hand it to my wife. I rented a house down here, and we didn't know where to live, so I rented a house. And she didn't know what it looked like until she pulled into the driveway.
Wow.
Driving down here from Omaha. Fortunately, she liked it. But we stayed there for a couple years, and then moved to Frisco, literally across the tollway. And then as we left the kids, they were all going to college at the time. Brandon and his twin brothers. He has 2 brothers, and they were all at either University of Nebraska or in Iowa. And then we told them that if they passed their first, the first couple semesters in school, we'd tell them where we moved. Otherwise, if they failed, we weren't going to tell them where we moved.
Sure.
They'd have to try to find us. But fortunately, they did pretty good.
Found them.
We found them, yeah.
We found them.
Yeah.
And here we are. Now
Hackers.
Let's get into a little bit more conversation. I think importantly, we're all kind of sitting at this period of our life that we're all ready for change and something that's different.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you're going to launch a brand. You're looking at completely changing the model of your life.
Yeah, one chapter's closing, another one's opening up, so it's exciting.
And how do you approach that? Are you approaching that from an internal perspective, or are you approaching that from an external perspective of, I need to make this change because something happened, or this is who I want to be and what I want to do, so I'm going to manifest it?
It's interesting that you asked this question, because I was literally thinking about exactly question about change about last week while I was driving, and then I realized that this is just my personal opinion, right? I think change for everybody is inevitable. It's gonna happen regardless.
Embrace
right?
it.
Yeah.
So the difference is, what's the motivation for you to change? Are you changing because you compromise? You're forced to change into something or someone that you really don't recognize anymore, or you decided, I need to change because I want to be better. It doesn't matter either be a better person or a better friend, better husband, better family. Just start to try to be better. Compare with yourself all the time, and try to be better yourself than yesterday. Like I think in that way, if you choose the second way, your life will be easier, I'd say, because and also you're like, I'm in control of my life, everything, and things are heading towards, and you won't live no regrets.
Yeah.
So,
Evan, what about you? And bring that, if you can, just pull that mic a little bit closer to you.
Yes.
But what spurred the reason for wanting to change? Is that internally on who you wanted to change, or?
It is. I'm still young, but in my mind, I feel old. I'm entering my 30s now, about to be 31 next month. And for me, I want a wife and a family, and I want kids, and it's not sustainable. I've met men in their 50s into their 60s who they never were able to get out of that touring realm where they were gone, 250 days out of the year. And that's when I thought about my future, that's not the kind of life I wanted for myself. So just like Panda said, that's kind of what sparked the change in me. I did more in music than I ever thought I could ever accomplish. So me closing that chapter of my life and moving on to something new, I'm excited for this next chapter and this next opportunity.
Yeah.
And when you do something you're passionate about, whether it's cigars or music or whatever you guys out there are passionate about, you're not going to fail, because I think we talked about it last week. You're going to have hard days. Never working a day in your life is unrealistic, but you're going to put more into it when you're passionate about what you do and you love what you do.
Yep. Yeah, when you become your own boss and you really push.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a conversation that, it's interesting, I'm asking this question kind of from a loaded perspective, because it's a conversation that I need to have with my younger brothers, because I've always kind of created the wake for them to follow, and it's like, okay, well, they're just hopping on and do what Brendan does, or do their best.
Right.
But it's something that I want to bring another, because Pops and I have these conversations, or having a lot of these conversations of, in this moment of change and identifying what success looks like to yourself, is that something that someone else can bring on, or is that something that you have to want, you have to think, you have to be able to ask those questions?
I ask that question on all the dates I go on with women. I'm like, what is your definition of success? I love that question so much, because it varies for everybody. Sometimes it's strictly money. Look, like, they just want to make a good living, or sometimes it's, well, I want to love what I do, and if I can just be financially stable, that's enough. But I love that question.
What about for you? What is
for everyone around the table?
If you said this has happened, this equals success to me.
At this point in my life, it's being in a stable location where I can eventually provide for a family and children, and do something I'm passionate about, where whenever I do have kids, I can tell them what I do and be excited about it and genuinely enthusiastic. That's really what it looks like for me.
Yeah. I remember the kids asked me when they were doing this, what do your parents do at school thing? And I told them that I just take no for an answer, because I wasn't in sales.
Yeah.
So I just take no for an answer. But that's, I'm curious what do you define as success?
well, to me, success is just a really simple thing. I just want to make sure that I could be, sufficient enough financially, and also strong enough inside to always stay with who I really am. Because at the end of the day, with the world we're living, I just really hope that I can try my best to, to do what I really love to do, and also, be who I am, and also, try to be a good friend to everybody, to, as considered as my friend and my family. And, a lot of times that takes a lot of discipline, strong will to just refuse to compromise with reality. And you know, if I can do that, as long as I'm alive, I think that's success for me.
Yeah.
The money shows up.
Yeah. And like you said, no regrets. When you're looking back on your life, you don't want to have regrets. Like, man, what would have happened if I had tried to do the thing I'm passionate about? You know,
Absolutely.
not find the easy
I
way.
feel bad for people who don't take the time or opportunity to identify their own passions.
Yeah.
You know.
But also, you know, like one thing about money is like I think this is also my personal opinion. I think in this world, everybody has two things that nobody else can ever take away from you. Not money, not fame. Those come and goes, right? The first thing is actually the knowledge and the skills we possess. Once you learn it, you practice it, nobody else can, you know, take it away from you. The second one is the experience. Now, experience can be wonderful, romantic, or sometimes could be heartbroken. But all those, I think, I take every single experience I had as a treasure, because I know at the end of the day, nobody else can take it away from that.
Right.
You know, it's, and I'm growing from all those mistakes. You know, right decision I
They're
made.
not mistakes. They're
Right,
lessons.
exactly, and
you
just
have
make
to
me a
learn.
better. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Where
There's
you
not
at?
a right and wrong. There's right and there's lessons.
That's
yes.
it.
And yeah.
Oh, there's wrong. There's wrong.
Yeah. Well,
But there's no wins and
When you're-
losses, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's like there are no losses if you learn.
no. If you, as long as, I mean, you can make a mistake. You can trip and fall. You can do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing, and do just all of those things can happen. Did you learn from it?
Yeah.
You know, I think in the end, when you get older, you start thinking about how do you want to be remembered, and I want people to show up at my funeral because they enjoyed my company, that we had, that they believed I was honest, I had integrity and character, not money. I don't want anybody to show up because I have money.
Yeah.
I don't care. So, you know, that's the one thing that I've found is this wealth that I enjoy is not in my checking account. The wealth I enjoy is I'm with my kids, and I get to do this with my entire family, and we're all walking in lockstep. And that to me that's success. Now, how long can we keep the ball in the air? I want to ride this for a while. Because when I was focused on money and focused on those things, I almost couldn't wait for the ride to get over. You know,
Right.
I just wanted that. That was a bumpy road. It's very stressful. And in the end, it just doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You know, I love Luciano. I'm so happy that he put this quote in here that he had said to us the night that he was here, which is the future awaits those who have the courage to create it.
That's so
Let that
true.
soak in. I mean, it is. He had mentioned that, and it was one of those things where I thought I should have wrote that down.
Yeah.
But thank you, Luciano, for reminding us of that point. What about you, kid? Success equals.
Well, I think we can look at long-term success, medium. It depends on where your scope is. I think there's importance of living with a horizon view. For those who ride motocross, know if you look at the rut right below you, you're going to get caught up in it. But if you keep your eyes open and you keep the throttle on, you'll be fine. Your body will react to it. So I think that's important, but without losing sight of what's in front of us. Right now, we have our own personal significant challenges that are happening now. So my scope, if you had asked me this last week, and if you ask me this now, it's completely different, because we have significant challenges that are happening right now in the area that matters the most for all of us, which is our family. And we're going to get through them. And I think success is in the moments of true challenge and true adversity, and sometimes feeling helpless. Can you maintain a positive character and a positive outlook and inspire change through your actions? And I think could be later tonight, could be the end of the week, it could be whatever, but it could be, life could be success now, which it is, but life will be successful because there's only one solution to this, and it's that everyone continues to grow. And I think if you can just focus on the epicenter of change inside of your own house, and you can take care of that, then you have the foundation to make bigger projections on who you can be successful for. And right now, I'm really truly enjoying the challenges in which we're going through because they are they're here now. The storm's here.
Yeah.
So I'm very blessed with the fact that there's almost that, when life is going good, you're kind of just waiting and you're like, all right, what's next? It almost feels too good. But there's almost relief and freedom in knowing it's here now. Okay, now it's go time. Now you get to be the person that you say you want to be.
Yep.
And that is exactly the moment we're at. So for me, success can be measured in a week from now. And when we do this show next week, we'll be talking about life is successful because we're able to have difficult conversations with the people we love the most and be honest, be open, be very transparent. And if those people who are part of our core circle see eye to eye with that, I think that in itself may be scratching into it to the next level. If everyone who's most important to you is eye to eye, sharing the vision and the direction, and everyone cares for each other equally, to me that's a life of success. The rest is details, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'd like to be asked this question next week for sure. And so we've got some people here. We've got Zach Patterson is saying success is also failure. If you don't fail, you can never improve and learn. I like how there's a little Zach Patterson. These guys are, Zach and Marty are connecting here in the comments. Let's do just a quick nerdy segment if we can, and just
Absolutely.
hop over.
Absolutely.
Will you explain to us and kind of run us through what it is we're looking at and do something with it?
Okay, so for tonight, I actually brought 2 different region tobacco leaves. One is the Brazilian tobacco leaves, and the other one is jalapa. Now, the reason why you see there's 3 small piles right here on there is because the jalapa I actually brought is actually piso jalapa and seco jalapa. So, I figure out, we are all being smoking like a finished product, right? Like the filler, binder, wrapper as a cigar. I want to, offer an experience a little bit different for us. Like, what happened if you just try to, make something with basic combination? Like, let's, forget about the binder or like the ligero or the wrapper for a second. Let's just try some different combinations.
Let's do it.
Let's see how that changes.
You are most certainly Luciano's protege.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
In the best of ways.
I'm honored.
Okay, so what's the method? What are you going to pick one and then we're going to give it a shot and see what each individual part looks like, or
right.
what's the best way?
So for tonight, I'm gonna do this. So first of all, I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna make some puros from the piso jalapa, and I want us to smoke, each individual one of them, and then remember the flavor, and then we will start to add the seco jalapa and also add the Brazilian tobacco leaf in there. Try to see like the
you done this
difference.
before?
I've never done this.
This is a change.
This is amazing.
This is fun. This is fun. Trust me, you gotta love it.
This is really the blending process.
Right.
It's no different than a chef with 3 different ingredients.
Sure.
You're gonna taste each individual ingredient. It in the right hands is somebody that can go, oh, you know what? A dash of this and a bit of that is going to taste really good together.
I feel like you guys brought me on the best episode of the podcast right now.
No, it truly is.
I'm excited to be here with you.
It's excited. And I would just say, as you're kind of rolling that stuff and putting the bros together, and if you just want to do one and we can pass the Dutch Jeep on the left-hand side, we can do
Okay,
that.
let's do the college way. Let's do puff puff pass, puff puff pass.
Yeah, let's
All
do
right.
it.
All right, let's do it. First one is Piso Jalapa.
So yeah, right now this one is piso
Bong
jalapa.
with you?
Oh, no, I forgot.
Oh, you didn't bring his
You
bong with you.
forgot. It's Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Jesus, this kid doesn't get anything.
Now
See what I'm talking about, guys?
B, you know what I'm talking about?
You bring your bong?
He didn't bring a bong with you.
He's like,
you
what?
bring yours on Tuesday? Oh, okay. Damn. These guys just don't get it.
We got to get our schedules in.
Shomer Shabbos over here.
Panda, I'd also, while you're doing that, I'd love to know like what got you into cigars. What led you to find that passion?
Well, okay, so this is actually to me. First of all, I enjoy smoking, right?
Sure.
Honestly speaking, I started smoking cigarettes while I was 13. When I was in China.
Wow.
Oh, those are some wild age, man. I'm telling you. But
Oh my God, I bet.
yeah. And then after I went to Michigan, I went to Ann Arbor, and then I was visiting this tobacco shop in it's called Mason Edward in Nickel Alley, and I was just buying Virginia tobacco, Turkish tobacco, the rolling cigarettes at the first place. After about like 2 months, and then I started to get into cigars, and then I stopped smoking cigarettes after that. And
Trying to devein that.
right, and at the same time, like
Kind of.
the reason why I said the cigar has a huge part in my life is because through cigars, I had a lot of intelligent conversations.
Yeah.
And also on top of that, I meet a lot of great human beings.
Absolutely.
And, that's where I really got exposed to American history and American culture, and the reason why I'm doing this right now, like later on trying to create my own brand is because I really want to, think about it. Like, I'm bringing cigars to different cities, different states, and think about all the views I can see, all the interesting people I can meet, right? And that on top of that, I can hopefully make some money off it. Why not?
Wrong business for that.
Right? Why not?
You know how you make $1 million in the cigar business?
Start with 4.
That's more than what you were going to say, too. He's seen this. He's seen it from the field.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And as you're rolling that, one unique difference is brand owners, versus cigar manufacturers is you have Panda, who's actually living many days, many months a year in Nicaragua to see it in the field, to see it on the rolling table. So
Sure.
If at some point you end up seeing Panda brand in the humidor,
Which I think we will.
I think so.
Right.
I mean, it's just someone, you have to understand the process, the people, everything that goes into it.
You know what your slogan has to be for your cigars, right?
Oh, yes.
The very best, because they're Panda.
Trademark.
Yeah.
Hey, might as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing a little bit of blending here, or you're doing just a little bit of rolling. You took one side of the leaf, you broke that, you flipped it, now you're rolling it with the other side of the leaf.
Yes. So that's, a lot of times when you try to test out the fermentation, how the fermentation process to the tobacco leaves to see if they're ready, you just grab one from the pilon, and then, you pretty much do this, make a puro, and try to, light it up, smoke it to see, if it's ready already or it still needs a little bit more time. So,
Okay, so how about this?
What would you identify? So for Evan, if you're smoking this puro that you're rolling, this little hilocho, as you roll that, what would somebody that hasn't done this before experience if he has tobacco that's under fermented or the fermentation has not made it?
So let me put it in this way. This is more like a metaphor, right? So think about steak, right? In order for you to understand, rare, medium, well done, or overcooked, right? The best way to do it is just taste a bite of every single stage.
Sure.
Same thing with tobacco leaves. You have to understand, what the ingredients I'm dealing with to really later on down the road create the dish that you want to offer to people.
Right.
That's the way I would explain to it.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is going to be dead air here for a second because we're kind of sitting in amazement.
No, I mean you guys can talk
we
about
go
something
through.
else. I mean, it's
I'm
not
fascinated.
Yeah,
It's not going to take
just
long,
it's
but
a cool thing. It's a cool thing if you guys haven't experienced this. As a matter of fact, let's do this. If you're watching this, hit share and then comment done when you shared it. And Panda, if you wouldn't mind rolling one of each of these afterwards, and then we can select somebody from here who's going to win something that's part of this, so they can actually go through this on their own time.
So cool.
all right, guys, do it right now.
Do it. Done. Junior
Share
Soul
it.
Train, the first one to do it.
Yeah, Luciano, if you're watching, our friend Junior Soul Train is stage right of us right now.
And Zach Patterson, it's potential for him because he's got an e-com order that's ready to ship out tomorrow. Frank Tomaszewski's, that's kind of an easy shoe-in because he's my neighbor, and Junior Soul Train is sitting right here. So there's some winners already. There's some competition, so get after it. Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. What movie is that from? Come on now. You know
50
it?
First Dates.
It's Adam Sandler movie. You remember
is an
that?
Adam Sandler
Pass
movie.
the Dutchie on the left-hand side. You remember what that is?
No, not really.
Wedding Singer.
Classic.
No, never seen that one before.
Yeah, I respect it. I respect it.
All right,
Okay.
checklist. All right, so this, as you can see, yeah. So this is a Puro. It's not as pretty, but it's because you didn't put in the presser and then didn't put the beautiful wrapper on it. But in this way, you can actually. So this I just wrote is the Biso Jalapa. Now Jalapa is actually, it's a really sweet tobacco leaves for the Nicaraguan
the
tobacco
Jalapa
leaves.
region of
Yeah,
Nicaragua.
absolutely. And but also interesting fact is, it's not like sugar. Like the more you put in there, the sweeter it gets, because it's all natural, product. So actually have a little bit of acidity to it once you put too much of it. So, but this one, just one leaf, you shouldn't be able to taste the acidity. But once you put the blends, it will be a different story. You want to do the honor?
Here's some fire. Oh, you got fire over
me?
there. Yeah,
Okay.
you're tempted.
Light
Do it,
Wow.
do it.
Pass it.
All right. God,
That's it.
lot of pressure here.
I
Lighting
know.
it up.
Happy Valentine's
Thanks for coming
Day.
in.
Thank you.
Everyone,
Zach Patterson. It's sweet with a little bite, he says jalapa. Is that how you would put it? Or are most cigars on the market that use jalapa also
just take
using
a-
some Esteli or
Take a
something?
slow pull because it'll get hot.
Yeah, because
Take a
jalapa
slow
is
pull and then just concentrate
the
on
bite is actually
the flavor that kind of lands on your palate.
I'd say it's
where
more
it
like
ignites your
between
palate.
from the feeling you got from the throat and also a little bit the spiciness.
Wow.
But I mean, if you smoke like the Seco Jalapa, yes, it will have a more bite to it. But Biso is like more smoother and also more mellowed on the sweetness. And then Ligero is just, it's less sweeter actually.
Man.
So what, did you pick anything up? And if no, that's okay.
I feel like my palate just isn't developed enough yet to give a educational description to your viewers right now.
It activates that center part of your palate. Increases the saliva
Right.
in my mouth. But that when it's mixed with others, it's gonna really come to life.
Absolutely. That's the beautiful part about having a blend is because it's just like you're cooking at the kitchen and you have the ingredients in the fridge, and, based on the knowledge and the cooking skill you have, and then you have to be creative and try to make a dish that you think it's the best for whoever is trying to eat a dinner with you.
Adding in your own spices and
Yep.
making it your
Yeah,
own.
Very much.
Zach Patterson, I'm smoking the same thing with you right now.
When did you roll your first cigar? Like, how did you learn this art?
So I did it first time actually last year. Last year in Nicaragua.
Wow, that's quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Quick.
seriously.
He's deveining it. He's
Yeah, I know.
breaking it. He's got it.
Right. I mean,
It's not as sweet as it's kind of got that semi-sweet chocolate. It's not all the way. It doesn't quite convert all the way to. It didn't make me salivate quite as much,
I got a little bit on the side, and I got this
but it's not very round.
Right.
It's very muddled. It's very just straight at the
right
point.
down the middle.
and also,
I mean, it just went right down the middle.
I don't know if you guys pick it up, but on the aftertaste, it will have a slight taste of like sourness to it. That's why it has a little bit acidity
Keep
to
it
it.
rolling. Let's check it out.
All right.
Roll another one.
All right.
Or what the next?
How
Yeah,
about
what
that?
the next leaf?
We can let that one go out.
Yep.
I
Or
mean,
we can
but
set that one. And
just
then
why don't
we'll-
you just keep that thing rolling on over? Because this is a fun experience for those of you who are watching. Thank you for watching us on our Lonely Hearts Club Band
It's a good one.
episode here.
So this one,
This has tied the amount of time we've smoked. We've talked about cigars in
Yeah.
the history of this show.
so this one here is Brazilian tobacco leaves.
Biso or Seco?
That's a Biso Jalapa.
So, jalapa.
Yep. So this one here, as you can see, like the Brazilian tobacco leaves, it's like much longer. but thinner as well, like
More narrow.
yeah, more narrow. And I'm gonna make a puro from this, and then you guys can try it out.
Now, when he says that, we'll try it individually.
Yep.
But then, ultimately, we'll have 2 or 3 at the same time.
That's kind of
That's when it all, the music,
yeah.
coming from the music industry, and we've talked about this in theory, in
Yes.
concept, because I was in the studios too,
Right.
is, you know, we would have violin come in and play. We'd have all these different, you know, because we were basically like a symphony.
Adding in all the elements to create.
But when you listen
Yeah.
to each individual instrument,
Yes.
sometimes they sound, their part of the song sounds almost annoying.
Right.
You know, there's just this, I describe it as this, and that's their part. But when you put all those pieces together,
Yep.
as you know, in the studio, you slide everything up. It all creates this music. It
Yeah.
creates this music,
Right.
and that's
This has gotta
what
be
he's
the
doing
next
now.
thing.
Or in rock, if you take out
I'll tell you later.
the bass and the guitar, and you just are left with the drums, like it creates that whole
Yeah,
the whole
You
piece.
want to puff on that thing, or you want you
Sure.
do whatever you like with it. That it's
We're
just so
about to-
beautiful.
about to taste.
Jalapa con nega, the stuff on the north of Nicaragua, it just kind of butts up to Honduras. There, it's just for me personally, you know, of course, on the north side of the field is going to taste different than the south side of the field. But as a broad stroke, as far as Nicaraguan goes, I just love it. It just even by itself. It has
Oh yeah, I
character.
mean, so one thing about the Nicaraguan tobacco leaves, right? Because you have basically, you know, the rough region as you have from north to south, you have Jalapa, and then you have Papua Nuevo, and then Condega, and then Esteli, and then you have Ometempe and Mazatempe. Now, the beautiful part about Nicaragua is that because the elevation changes so much, and actually also the soil is different too, because some of them have more volcanic, you know, elements, mineral elements in there. So you can actually literally put, let's say you grow Habano seed in it, and then they will all taste different
Alan,
later
can
on.
I get a favor from you? Can I have you grab the cigar glue for us, please? It's in the push button. So that's Viso Jalapa from the north of Nicaragua.
Viso, Ligero leaf, center of the plant.
Yep, and Zach, you're saying I like Ometepe. There,
From Jalapa.
Ometepe is it's an interesting tobacco to work with.
Very,
I mean,
very.
You can't use it for everything.
Not only that. So like if you like, so if you guys ever, you know, got a chance to smoke a puro for Ometempe, you will realize that it's actually not as flavorful as you expected. As an individual, you know, you smoke a puro, but once you start to put Ometempe with other tobacco leaf, it's like game changer.
Yeah.
It's almost like, you know, whatever else you put in there, it actually with Ometempe, it reveals the character of the tobacco leaves even more. It's like magic.
So cool. It's so cool.
Oh yeah.
Yep, Zach, you're exactly right. So it comes down to the volcanic soil and the wash off. And when you go to Esteli, what you're going to notice is in Esteli, the soil is black. Black as the night.
Yes.
And it creates this, especially in the mornings. And if you get a chance to go to Nicaragua, please do so. It's in the mornings when you see the beautiful vibrance, this green that comes off a tobacco plant is just unbelievable. And when you get that contrast of the black soil, it's stunning. It's very difficult to forget. And you're exactly right, Zach Patterson. And there are 3 major volcanoes in Nicaragua?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So when you get to Esteli and you get that black soil and you hear Esteli Lejero, you're going to have all the balls.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I actually have to share a story later on once I finish this rolling. I mean, that literally knocked me out. Like I was like, I need a moment to gather my energy from smoking.
To recoup.
I know.
Okay, so now this next one that's coming in, this is the Brazilian that you rolled for me earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's there's a Brazilian that starts with an A. Arapaca or something like that.
Is that what it's called?
How do you say that? Brazilian? I would love for somebody to Google that and just type it
Luciano,
out
let
so we
us
can
know
try
what
it.
it's called.
Oh yeah, this is a whole process.
I love it.
Yeah,
I've never experienced something like this before.
And the best part is all 100% organic.
Yeah.
Take that, take that whole food.
And gluten free.
This is basically a salad.
There's no carbs in this. at all.
No, absolutely.
Oh yeah, and by the way, if you're watching this, we appreciate you watching this, but this is definitely for us sitting here right now.
Yeah.
This is a rapiraca.
But there's a winner, right?
My man. What's that?
There's a winner. So somebody's going to get to experience
Somebody
something.
is going to experience all of this. Right now, I'm thinking it's maybe Zach Patterson, whoever. Let's see if
There you
Frank
go, Zach.
Tomaszewski can ask an off-the-wall question that qualifies as a point bump. Frank can ask some questions.
So this is the Brazilian.
Yeah, this is the Brazilian.
Let's go this way this time.
Absolutely.
I'm just hitting it with a little bit of tobacco, with a little bit of cigar glue on there. Ugliest goddamn cigar I've seen all day.
Looks like a Toscano.
It's not all about looks.
Sometimes, you know, what matters is the inside.
That's right.
So much different.
And also, you know,
like watching
just for your guys' curiosity, the aroma from these two tobacco leaves are different too.
Yeah.
You can smell it from here, actually.
Already.
You might need to hit that was fire. Yeah, we started with the jalapa. It's got so much more character. It's such a more interesting personality.
Nope.
It's so much more complete.
It's like, you know, it's almost like remind me of the difference between beef and lamb. You know, like when it's raw, it's all red meat, right? But once you cook it, even if you just put really simple, every single thing else is the same. You know, oil, salt and pepper, they still taste different. That's the way I put it.
You got some great metaphors for this. I love it.
Well, I can say I'm Chinese.
Looser, so you have to pull a little harder.
Okay.
Yep, and you might need to hit that with some fire.
Yep.
But I can already see how those two are going to come together.
And you know what? We are not doing double fisting tonight, and I'm gonna actually just put all this tobacco leaf together, make another one, so you can taste all
Try 'em.
that,
Let's do
together. So, and also this time I'm actually gonna put another half seco jalapa in there, just to balance out the flavor, make it more vivid for you guys.
Do you feel the difference on that, Evan?
Absolutely.
How would you describe the difference of what you get from 1 to 2?
I think you said it. This one's just more full, whereas the other one was it was great, but it was just a little more like simple. This one's a little bit more complex. That's kind of how I would describe it for the viewers. I'm gonna put this one right here.
You know what? That's interesting because that's a little different than how I would describe it. I want to see if I can grab it the way you guys grab it. More subtle. For me, it's much more subtle.
Okay.
From your.
I'm just fascinated by the process of you rolling these. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I've never seen anything like this. So this is
so
amazing.
when I'm working at Stally at the factory, I pretty much, you know, since I really want to learn everything,
Yeah.
so I'm like, you know, trying to learn everything from every single step, like build up loans, check on fermentation. You know, sometimes I even just go to the back of the factory, sit down with the old lady who was deveining leaves. You know, for me, it's just like help me to, to know how to devein leaves properly.
Fires up the front of your
Also, get a better understanding
acidity.
on the texture of the
acidity
tap
just
leaves,
fires up the
Right.
front of your palate.
and also at the same time, you know, learn practice my Spanish.
Watch how that comes to life.
Watch how the brightness
When-
on the front of your tongue is just
Yeah.
super evident.
So both of these at the same time.
Same time.
Okay.
And we've done this in blending sessions here. A night at the factory is what we called it.
So we're double fisting after all.
We are double fisting.
We're
Yeah.
just waiting for your ass.
We might be jumping the gun a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Nope.
You see how those completely different, they don't make sense, but then when you bring them back together,
Are you
all
getting
of a
that
sudden,
brightness on the front of your tongue?
I am. Yeah.
but it still lacks. right? You've got the first couple notes. You got the bass line and the drum.
Right.
But you don't have any melody.
You've got the rhythm section, but you're missing that lead right there. Yeah.
Right. You're missing
That's so cool.
Yeah, just set them right up here.
Yeah.
He said, Zach Patterson said, this is the most educational and tobacco-based episode of Cigar Talk we've ever gotten. It's blasphemy. Cigar Talk on Cigar Talk Live. Bullshit.
Well, Brandon, we had a great conversation last week about you use the metaphor of piano keys when you're like making a chord with the piano, comparing it to the single notes of the piano. Mm-hmm. So same kind of concept, but
and it's interesting because Luciano's in, and Luciano is really the one that taught us that. And
right.
if you hit rewind on a couple of days, this Saturday, we're sitting around the fire pit at the house.
Yep.
And he's got a group of people singing together.
Oh, amazing.
You do an A. And all of a sudden we're creating this melody. Then my wife is just the worst fucking singer I've ever heard. He didn't even go back to her.
No,
he didn't
just
even
let her go.
acknowledge it.
It was just like, no.
Make sure she doesn't watch this episode.
It's fine. It's fine. Because
Look,
Diana,
she
who
knows
is here
she
with
can't
us,
sing.
is at the house right now. So if they're watching, they know they got passed. They
Yeah,
tried
that's
one
awesome.
note and then they were done. So that was that's really who I learned this from, and I learned to look at cigars the way I look at music
sure.
from Luciano, and it changed the way I look at everything.
Absolutely. And also, quick big shout out for my mentor and my dear friend Luciano. Thank you, brother. I know for a fact without you, none of this will happen. Yep. So thank you.
Yep. Luciano, you are a special human being. You're a true dreamer and a maker, and your legacy will go far past your life. You're a special human. It's just so interesting because I think a few times in your life you connect with people who you may not know it, but there's a handful of people in your life, and maybe as you roll this we could talk about that, and I'll talk about that for just a second. There are a few people in your life who really changed the trajectory and changed the way you look at life. Yep. Luciano, I can literally count him on one hand. Aside from my father, who gave me the world and a roadmap on how to succeed, you have Luciano. I have another new dear friend of mine, Kenny. Kenny Bowers owns Kenny Restaurants here in DFW, a tremendous human being. Jerry Nelson, who's the creator of Ticketmaster. He's the man who found water in the desert, and because he found water in the desert, Scottsdale, Arizona exists.
Yep.
Think about that.
Just moved back from there too.
Yeah,
Great place.
That's
He
vision.
found, and his story is remarkable. I mean, and of course there are maybe a few others, but if I were to just put that down, those four people, without those four people, I'm a different human being.
Right.
Who are some of those people for you guys?
Man. Well, I keep bringing the conversation back to music because when I was a kid, that was the first time I knew I had a passion for something. We talked about this prior to the podcast, but Billy Joel for me was just like, he changed the way I listened to music, and just his slow music with the piano and his upbeat songs, like it was unlike anything I've ever heard. So yeah, that's what got me into the music industry for sure, was Billy Joel.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Pops, who are, before we fire this up, who are some of the most important people in your life?
I think that's a great question. I guess it sounds kind of silly, but I think it's you and your brothers.
That's not silly.
You guys. The more we grew together, the more I realized that there's an importance of being a good leader and to be a good father and to be all of those things, knowing that you would one day pass those traits down to your kids, and that's kind of our obligation, is just to keep on growing that. I think that's special. Right. My friend Scott Noble, we've been friends for 12 years. I work for him now, and 40 years we've been 50 years almost we've been friends, and it's just we went 20 years without seeing each other, and it was like when we did finally reconnect, it was like we didn't see each other for a couple weeks.
Right.
But you know that
He's changed our family's life.
His belief in me and my skill set, and let me put that forward, helped him. So I think a lot of times it's just getting with people that will see you for who you are and believe in it and let you run. You know, and that's probably it. But I think you guys made me want to be a better human, so that you guys would become great humans, which you are.
Well, you did it. Panda, who you got?
Yeah, to me, I'd say I'd start with my grandpa and my mom, because they raised me right and, you know, show me the right value that I should always, you know, endure regardless of the situation, you know, never compromise, always trying to be loyal, always trying to be honest, you know, and also trying to, you know, stood up to against what's wrong, and try to be a guardian for people, whoever that is. They need help, you will just try to be the guardian of it. And you know, they showed me that it's actually possible, you know, to pass these qualities down to generations, and I hope I would never lose it. And then, you know, besides them, it's actually Martin Luther King. You know, it's just really, with those years I live in Memphis, you know, my favorite spot is actually the motel, the Civil Rights Museum, because I used to live like 2 blocks away from there. So a lot of times I would just like walk down the street, sit on the bench, light up a cigar, watch everything, you know, watch the entire motel. And, you know, they keep the way it is, with the day he got shot. You know, keep me thinking about, you know, that's a man with balls, with character and courage, you know. And you know, it actually showed me that regardless the scenario, you should always just fight for what's right. And another thing is, I realized that it's also important for us to remember, and also sometimes to look after people like him, because, you know, there's like an old saying in China, the guy who pick up branches and set up the bonfire for everybody
Warms himself twice.
No, actually, it's a little bit different in China. Like, you should never allow him to freeze to death.
Well,
Yes, that's the Chinese phrase. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if he did something good, don't just, like, you know, be silent about it. You know, embrace that. You know, just so that you can show other people when you do something right, you should be rewarded. You know, you should be looking after. I think that will, generally speaking, makes this world a little bit better. You know,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Let's light this cigar.
Yeah. We have a simple.
it's
we
funny.
really do have a simple philosophy here, which is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't teach it to fish.
absolutely.
Because it doesn't have, you know, it can't hold.
Yeah, it's
reel
got
and
no
stuff,
thumb.
You know, so
Yeah.
if it had thumbs, if a horse
That's
had
such
thumbs,
a Dave's fucking song. No one can understand what you just said there. Everyone's like, yeah, that
Hey,
sounds good.
if there are
It sounds
people that
good.
get it,
they don't get it.
you're in the bus with me, baby.
And it's real short. There's not much.
It's a real short bus, and the windows have a lot of space.
Junior said, I think, my favorite comment ever, which is, hell, I say every episode, this is the best episode, and then next week episode comes and then tops the list.
Yeah.
I think there's something happening here. We need more people to be a part of this and be part of this
We
conversation.
need more mics.
Yeah, we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bigger
rooms,
bigger
so
table.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell Wayne we need more mics.
Yeah.
Shout out Wayne for the mic stands and everything too.
Mic stands
Is this
are the real.
cool or what?
It's amazing.
Okay, so what's in here? Are these the two, or is this all three?
So these are all three here. So I put one piso jalapa in there, as a filler, and also half Seco Esteli. No, not Seco Esteli. My bad. Seco jalapa in here, and also for the tobacco leaf side, I used to wrap it up. I use the half leaf of the Brazilian tobacco leaf there.
Okay.
Okay.
So who's next? All right, Evan.
No.
Okay,
Nice.
sure.
Now it all comes together.
Now we've got a cigar.
Junior Soul Train. See his comment?
Killing.
Luciano made me a better person
Wow.
by seeing life and how you treat people better than before. Always do right by others, and you'll always be blessed. we're blessed by knowing AJ Junior Soul Train. Glad he's in the bus with me.
That's amazing.
How would you describe the difference there?
See,
It's
that front brightness
Yeah.
isn't in this now that there's that third leaf.
it's
Is it because the Brazilian subdues the rest of the blend itself?
Right now.
That and also, you know, it actually gives a little bit more flavor that's not in the Jalapa tobacco leaves characters. So imagine this, right? Sometimes we use sugar when we're cooking, right? But have you ever thought about like, why is that I put a lot of sugar in some dish, but it actually didn't turn the dish sweeter, but actually just make everything else smoother? The same thing with tobacco leaves, you know. This is like the amazing part about the cooking and blending is just it's not always 1 + 1 = 2. Sometimes you'll be like, you know, 1 + 1 = 4 or 5. I know that's some fucked up math, especially for an Asian dude, but hey, I went to public school, so don't judge me.
Omaha Public Schools, baby.
Oh,
1
man.
+ 1 is 4.
It's still distinctly missing something, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's missing that balance. It's missing the roundness. It's not quite there. But it's definitely more complex than...
It is more complex.
It's
for
you know,
sure.
it needs more ingredients to put into it to really make it work. Like we're missing the wrapper, and also we miss probably another half Ligero and another Biso. But also, you know, this is actually something I've been working on lately. I really want to use this as a foundation and build up from here. So we'll see what I can came out with this.
So are there wrapper leaves that you would look... Because before we really get into that vision, how would you guys describe this? And then where do you think it misses? Where do you think it misses? And how would you chase that? What tobacco will you try to source in order to round that and complete that?
Right.
Are there areas that you taste that it's missing?
Yeah, to me, it entertains parts of my palate, but not the whole palate. It needs just to create a fuller experience.
Right.
It's not off-putting at all. It's missing a couple of pieces that entertains the whole palate.
But for me,
Absolutely.
what I love about this experience is it's letting me hone in on certain things that, like, with as great as this cigar is here, it's harder for me, like as a newbie, I'll call myself, to pick up those certain elements of the cigar. Whereas as you're wrapping these, it's letting me really identify the specific elements of what goes into a cigar like this.
Can I try that cigar?
You may, yes.
That actually has tobacco grown from Florida.
Okay, very cool.
Our friend Jeff Borshowitz that owns Corona Cigars has a field that was growing tobacco in Florida 40 years ago, and he brought that field back to life, and he grows
This is a good cigar.
Florida sun grown.
This is a good cigar.
No, it's phenomenal.
But it's complete.
Exactly. I love this experience, Panda, and thank you for your time and everything. Like I've never experienced something like this, and getting to entertain those different elements is really a new experience for myself.
And I think for a newbie, it's one of the hardest things that we have to communicate. The issue that we have for a newbie is these two cigars look the same.
They do, yeah.
You know, from 5 feet away, they look the same.
Yep.
Well, and to a
They're-
newbie, they taste the same.
Yeah, for the most part. And I think that that's why it's important as somebody that's new, and this is the tip of the Dave right now, is don't be afraid to smoke two cigars at the same time so that you can get the immediate contrast. Because the one thing that an experienced person like Panda will have, or Luciano,
Yep.
or AJ, is remembering what certain leaves tasted like.
Yes.
My memory's not that good. But when you're smoking two cigars at the same time, you get instant feedback.
Right.
And you get that, oh, okay, now I'm tasting the difference. And I recommend doing that if you're new. Try a Dominican and try a Nicaraguan or Honduran and taste something from different regions.
You know, and that's a good way to do it. But one way that I would also recommend is take your home-based cigar that you feel like you know very well smoke that at the same time as something else.
Yeah.
So you don't
That's
have a
good.
surprise here, but then here you go, oh, you know what? I like that, and I like that more in these aspects than I like this.
Just like we talked about taking experiences from life in itself and knowing what you want, what you don't want. Same with cigars too. And I just joined, I think, your cigar newbies group on Facebook.
Yeah.
For anyone watching, I would recommend that group and just seeing what the people post. I mean, I already have a list on my phone of different cigars I want to try, and I love what you said about trying different cigars at the same time too. I'm excited to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible. And poor Allie was in working today, and she ran through the Luciano line, and I was running her through it. And then we went, okay, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one.
Yep.
We're smoking them all at the same time. You got to know them. It's one thing to read the reviews and to hear what the notes are.
Yep.
Notes are vastly bullshit, anyways.
Yeah.
I think that's important for us to know.
Would you? Yeah.
Lemon ciabatta bread is
Yeah.
not.
Let me explain to you what broccoli tastes like. We can't.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and
No.
I've always said, for our entire lives, our moms or whoever was feeding us slid something in front of us, and we either liked it or we didn't.
Right.
And that's really what people have to learn with cigars. Smoke something, and if you like it, you like it. Don't like it because some guy gave it a 94 rating and said that it tastes like, smoked cardboard with marshmallow on it. They're full of shit.
Yeah.
The fact is if that pushes the right buttons for you, smoke it. The Luciano Dreamer, man, just punches the big green button.
Why
for me.
don't you pass that thing on the left hand side?
Also, Dave, I'm glad you bring up the Luciano. There's another thing I guess you guys can try it out. Actually, me and Luch, we did it one time while we were in Nicaragua. So if you get a chance,
Try complex.
so you can actually
That's got complex.
grab the Maria Lucia and also with a Toro Fiat Lux, right? So what you do is you cut them both. You light up the Maria Lucia first. You took about 3 to 5 draws, right? Remember the flavor. You go back to Fiat Lux, smoke it for 3-5 draws, and then give yourself a minute, and then go back to Maria Lucia. Then the magic happens. You are literally will be like, what the fuck? I think it's the same cigar, but it tastes different. 100% different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Particularly the Fiat Lux. There is something that happens with the Fiat Lux that just something different's happening.
Life-changing experience, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free tip too.
So do it.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to watch it all come together.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know what salt tastes like, you know what beef tastes like, you know what paprika tastes like, but you put it all together and all of a sudden you've got something that happens.
it's like, one of the reasons I enjoy trying out different combinations without, putting a wrapper, all this, is actually because by doing this, it's actually giving me more possibilities. Think about this, like when you go to a restaurant, you taste a finished dish, right? You have the 100%, what the chef wants you to experience. But that's like just one possibility already. It's finished, right? But then if you start to remove a lot of the ingredients out of that, you have some solid foundation. Let's say if I had